Hello everyone, welcome to your channel Data Science Studio. And as we have promised, we are starting the first session today for the Python introduction. So, looking forward to it. Firstly, we'll have some introduction on the Python. So, Python is a high level and interpreted programming language, which means that most of the components of Python are similar to what we have read in English language. So the code is very easy to understand and it's an interpreted language, which means that the code which we are writing is actually converted into bytecode and which is then executed by the Python virtual machine or the system. Python is a very popular programming language and it was developed by Guido van Rossum in the year 1991. This is also a very big development during that scenario, and from that day onwards the Python has gained a lot of momentum in terms of understanding the concepts of machine learning or developing machine learning models or the data science models or the data analytics workspace. Python syntax is very easy to understand. As we have told, it is a high level language, so it is very easy to understand. It is an object oriented language because most of the time we are working with libraries which are nothing but the various classes and objects which we inherit, and we try to create the objects of that and try to use it. And it is free and open source, which means most of the components of Python is open source. You can readily install it and it will be completely ready for your usage, and it has numerous packages and it also has a strong developer community. Now it is important to understand that there are multiple platforms to code in Python. One of them is the Ideally environment, then you have Anaconda environment, you have Jupyter Lab notebook, and you have PyCharm community as well, where you can code and run your programs. And we have Google Colab as well, wherein you can develop your Python notebooks and you can run machine learning models as well. You have IDE environment like Spider, which is available both independently and by the Anaconda environment. Now if you talk about the Anaconda, so we will be predominantly in this training we'll be using Anaconda, which has both PyCharm community version pre-installed, and it has the support for Spider IDE as well, and it has the support for Jupyter Notebook. So Anaconda is actually an open source distribution for Python, and it's also for R programming language. It consists of many packages for data analytics and data science. It is very easy to install all the relevant libraries using Anaconda prompt, and you can run multiple platforms. You can run your code on multiple platforms, whether it is Jupyter Notebook or Spider or PyCharm community. If you want to have a look at how does the Anaconda looks like, so it looks like this. So I will be telling you how to install the Anaconda. So the link is there in the slide. You can open that link and you can actually install it. And after the installation, you can see in my screen that we have Jupyter Notebook and we have the PyCharm community as well, and we have the Spider Notebook as well. So these are the multiple functionalities we'll be working throughout the training, and here I have installed it and I have launched the Jupyter Notebook. So now we will start with the programming of the Python. Another point to note is in Python we have these many platforms to code available. There is a link associated with it. So whoever needs this PPT and the code, please subscribe to the channel and comment on the comment section. I'll be helping you with the link to the code and the PPT. Now there are various variable types in Python. Predominantly there are numerical, which is integer, float and complex. We have strings, we have list, tuple, dictionary and sets. And from your data analytics perspective or any kind of data processing perspective, list and dictionary are very important data types in Python. So we'll be seeing everything in detail. So let's move forward to our Jupyter notebook. So once you have successfully installed the Python Anaconda environment based on the link which is given in this section, then you will be able to launch the notebook, which looks something like this. And here you have multiple functionalities, like you can download your notebook in any format. You can download in the .py version, and you can also download in the IPyNB version. So IPyNB stores for interactive Python notebook. So the Jupyter notebook is actually an interactive Python notebook, and whenever you are working with the IDE environment, then you can save it in the .py format. And then you have functionalities like merging the cells or editing the cells. This is nothing but, which you are seeing in my screen, this is a cell, and you can, if by any means your code stops working, you can click this square block, which is like interrupting the kernel. It will stop the kernel, and whatever output you are writing, it will be visible in the screen itself. And this is the command to run the code. Now first we will start with the variable types. So anything, if you want to start in Python, you have to assign it to a variable. For example, if we have a equal to 10 and we have b equal to 20, and if you want to sum all these variables, then we can do c equal to a plus b, and we can print the output. So print command is used to print the output of the variable, and whatever you are writing as a statement, it should be in double quotes or single quotes, because it's a string. Like this you can do. So it will print the value of c is 30, like this. Now every variable has a type associated with it, which means what kind of data type of the class it is. So if you have to check in that ways, you can do type of c. So here you can see the type of c is integer. This is how you can check the type of a variable. Now there are some rules in terms of variable naming convention, like this variable a and b which we have created. So the variable should not begin with a digit. It can consist of, so a variable name can consist of letters, digits and underscores, but it should not start with a digit. That is the rule. And if you want to comment anything in Python, you can use the hash. Now there are some interesting facts as well. For example, if I want to provide a heading, I can just add one cell, I can move it up, and if you want to provide a heading, you can change from here as well. For example, if I have to provide a heading like data types, so here if you run it, it will give you a heading. Similarly, if you want to write in a smaller font, you can still have another option, which is markdown. So you can write numeric. Like this you can organize your code. Next thing is, there are various operations which you can perform in Python for numeric. It could be addition, it could be subtraction, it could be multiplication, it could be exponential, and it could be modulus. So we'll see a couple of them. So for example, if I do, this is a multiplication operation, and if I have to calculate any square root of any particular value, then I can do, if I have to first calculate the square, so it is 2 square is 4, and if I have to calculate the square root, then I have to do 2 into 1 by 2, which is 1.414 is the square root of the 2. So like this you can calculate the square root as well. And we'll talk about the precedence of operators in the Python, like whether multiplication will happen first or whatever in the parenthesis will happen first. So we have already read about BODMAS rule, which is bracket off and then division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. And next is, you can also have something called as modulus. So modulus is basically used for remainder. So if you have 12 modulus 5, so 12 modulus 5 is 2, which means 5 is the remainder. So if you have to calculate any modulus, then it will be percentage. So in terms of operators precedence, whatever is there in the parenthesis will be evaluated first and then followed by the exponential or multiplication, division, addition and subtraction. So first is parenthesis and then exponentiation and then division, then you have subtraction and then addition and then you have subtraction. Like this is the operator precedence when you are working with Python. If you have to print any string value, you can use the print command that I have told you. If you want to print any value, you can print like this. It will print the city name. Next is, in Python you have the flexibility of writing statements in multiple lines. So for example, if I want to, there are some escape characters in Python. So slash is a escape character. So this slash is actually a so this is basically used to print data to a new line. For example, if I use the same text and if I want to print Bangalore in new line, so I can do /n like this. City name is Bangalore. Similarly, you can use tab also. So /t is for tab, and now there are ways in which you want to insert a single quotes or double quotes in a string, that for that things also escape character is used. So if I have to print something like this, the city name is, if I have to Bangalore, if I have to do in double quotes, so it will throw an error because I cannot have double quotes inside double quotes. But if I want to print Bangalore within double quotes, then I have to use the escape character. So which will be something like this. So now if I run it, it will do it in double quotes. So like this you can use the escape character if you want to have the double quotes within the word. Next is, what if we want any kind of user input from the users? So for example, if I have to do x is equal to integer input of so if I do like this, it will ask for user input. So if I enter 20, it will, what it will do, whatever we are giving input as number, it will convert this into integer. This is a built-in method which will convert any value coming into integer. So I can print x like this. It will print the value like this. So this is how you can get the user input as well from the system. Now there might be a scenario wherein you might be having issue if you are by mistake entering a string. For that we can talk about control statements that can be used to process the error, or we can use try and except statement as well. So that also we can see. Now before moving to other data types like list, dictionary and tuples and sets, it is important that we have some basic understanding about some looping concepts, which is if else, if else if, else and while and for loop, out of which if else if is used very frequently and we use for loop also very frequently when we are working with list and dictionary. So when we are talking about looping structures or any kind of functionality like functions or classes, there is a concept of indentation. So if I am writing something like this, so this colon mark will actually resemble the start the process of indentation. So if I press enter, you can see that this cursor is now 4 spaces from the beginning, and that process is called as indentation. So there is no curly braces in Python, it is a tab space or a 4 space for indentation. So here I can print x is greater than 10, or else we can write again. If you have to write else, you have to start from the beginning. Else again colon print x is not greater than 10. like this. So you can say it is printing the required value. So this is from the perspective of if else, and you can have if else if as well. So you can do like this. You can actually copy the same program and we'll just enter a value. So if x is greater than print, and you can write here else if x is equal to 10, like this. You have to use double operators. So equal to is a assignment operator and double equal to is the comparison operator. This is also slightly important. So equal to is assignment operator when you are assigning something to a variable. So over here we are assigning x equal to 10, which means this is an assignment operator, and we have double equal to, which is a comparison operator. So this is also you should be aware of. So now you should be comfortable in terms of how to write if else and if else if. Similarly we have while. In case of while, this statement will repeat until and unless the condition is true. So again, same example, if x is equal to 10, while x is less than equal to 10, indentation, print x, and here we can do x equal to x minus 1. We can just make this 20, like this. So it will print the values till the time the value of x is greater than equal to 10. It will print the value of x, or else it will come out of the loop. This is how while loop is run. Until till the time the condition is being evaluated, it will run, or else it will come out of the loop. And then you have for statement. So for statement is basically used, it allows you to repeat a set of actions for each items in a sequence. So for example, if I have to print all the characters in a string. So let's say we have a variable, string is equal to like this. So for I in str, again indentation, print I. So what it will do is, for every element in the string, it will keep on printing. So this is from the perspective of for loop and while loop and if else loop. So we have seen how you can work with numeric data. We have seen how you can work with loops. Now next is there is a built-in function which is called as range. So range function is actually used, it kind of creates an iterable object that represents a sequence of numbers or integers. So for example, if I do something like this, for I in range of 10, print I. So what it is doing is it will print all the values from 0 to 9. Another concept which we have to understand is in Python, index starts from 0. So in the range, the index will start from 0 and will go till 10 minus 1, which is 9. So total it will be 10 values only, but it will start with 0. Similarly, when we are accessing the elements of the list or tuple or dictionary in our future sessions, you will see that the index starts from 0 in Python. Now next topic is there is a concept of formatting as well. So we'll see one last example for today's session. So there is a concept of formatting. So let's say if I print a program, so what this format function actually does is, in Python you cannot concatenate string and integer. Now if you want to print any value of a variable, you have to give something called as a placeholder. So the placeholder for this variable x is this curly braces, and now you can see that everything is in the single quotes. So you can do anything with this one as well. For example, if you have x equal to 20, y equal to 30, you can do print f, the value of x is, then again placeholder for x, and y is then again placeholder for y. So there is a single quotes like this. You can print multiple values using the format function as well. You can also, if you want to print float values, that is also possible in this one. Now let's say the y value is 30.20, and if I want to print y as float, then you just have to do in front next to y, you have to just specify a colon mark and then dot 2f. Dot 2f means up to 2 decimal places you want to print the float value. So now it will print like this. If you want up to 3 decimal places or 4 decimal places, you can just change this 2 to 3 or 4. So this is from the perspective of formatting. It is very important from this perspective. Now we'll see one more version of range. So there is a concept of start, stop and step. So if I have for x in range of 10, 100, 10, print x. So what it will do is it will start from 10 and it will take a step of 10, which means except 100 it will include all the values. So first it will print 10, then 10 plus 10 is 20. So step means what is the next step. Now what is the next value it is going to print. So next value is this 10 plus 10 is 20, then it will be 20 plus 10 is 30. So start, stop and step is also used very frequently in Python programming. So this is another functionality which you can aware of. Now from today's class perspective, I think this is fine, and in next class we will see a couple of more examples. We will start with string, list and tuples. So stay tuned and please subscribe my channel and provide your valuable comments so that we can improve on this and keep learning. Thank you.